A New Hope, Nier Chapter 67. You can read all of Azazyl's fan-fiction stories by subscribing to patreon.com/Azazyel. Once all the other students finally arrived back at the landing zone, we quickly loaded up and left the Everfall Forest. Thankfully, although some students suffered some minor injuries due to attracting too many Grimm with their gunfire, none of the students actually died on this trip. After we arrived back in Beacon, we turned in our required sap, and then we were set free for the weekend. Alright, while I am gone at Vale, I am setting Weiss in charge should you four be called in for some form of combat, I said as I made sure my new backpack was stuffed with some food and of course a spare scroll I was able to buy. I wanted to see if Yoarha could hack into the scrolls to see if any of Remnant's technology could be of use to them, though I doubted it as Remnant's whole technological tree seemed to depend on the local elemental magic in dust. Do not worry, Jake, for I shall not disappoint your trust in me, Weiss said proudly, as though she was planning to shoulder the weight of the world on her shoulders rather than disappoint me. Yes. Well, we don't have homework, or any other assignments, so there shouldn't be too much to worry about. Also, Jean, Pyrrha, and Ruby will behave, won't you three? I asked jokingly, and the other girls snickered as they gave Weiss considering looks as though they were considering being a hellion for her. Well, more like Jean and Ruby pretended to be a troublemaker, as Pyrrha was too much of a sweetheart and demure to randomly be causing trouble. After I said my brief goodbyes, I left our dorm room, and after I considered just going into a closet to teleport back to Nier, I realized how weird if Ojban or anyone else saw on the cameras me randomly going into a closet only to reappear 3 days later coming out of said closet. No number of awkward jokes about me coming out of the closet could save me from being questioned for such weird activities. I was beset by endless darkness as I finally arrived in Vale, and once I left the landing zone I quickly found the same copse of trees I camped out last time and had my guardian create another darkness portal. I looked back to where the RWBY door was and I saw it was glowing far more than when I first found it, and I realized almost similar to a log pose from One Piece. Even with the endless swirling darkness covering my vision, I knew the exact direction the door to the RWBY world was. Well, time to face the music, I muttered as I followed the signature of the signature I left behind in the Nier world, and once I arrived, I finally saw the Nier Automata world door. Like the RWBY door, it was obviously themed to follow the so-called protagonists, as it showed the silhouette of a trio of Yoarha uniform-clad humanoid forms fighting with the machine army. But now I couldn't help but think about where the weird fauna mutations had come from, as it wasn't such a thing in the actual game as far as I knew, nor was it shown on the world door. Rather than continuing my internal monologue about trying to piece together the story of a world merely through a mural on a door, I decided to just go through the door, and with a grunt of effort from me and with the help of my guardian I was able to push open the door, and I was once again beset by all-consuming light, and I was thrown into the world. I cursed as I was thrown violently across the smooth concrete floor of my bunker, and I only stopped as I collided with a loud crashing noise into my couch and smashed the back of the couch into some sheet metal aluminum that was stored behind the couch, making an unholy racket. Literally, the din created from my entrance was so great that I could feel my aura surge to protect my ears as I helplessly laid on the couch, both from the stress of my teleportation and how heavy the very air was. Damned Maso! I cursed as I staggered to my feet, and just as I was preparing to leave my bunker to find my girls, I heard a loud sound ringing out as my vault door opened itself. Jake! I heard 9S cry out ecstatically, and I could only mentally groan as the Weiss lookalike rammed into me at full speed, knocking the air out of me and back into the couch. Nines! I cried out as soon as I could speak as the android buried her face into my chest as a way to get her attention and show a fraction of the obsessive affection she was attempting to push onto me. The rest are on the way, and I really missed you. We all missed you. 9S muttered as she tightened her grip on me. I couldn't help but feel my nose and eyes burn lightly as I began to pet 9S's hair as I swallowed, and Thicky responded in kind. I missed you and the rest as well. Every time I went to sleep, I could only lay there waiting to feel your bodies next to me. Every moment reminded me of how we were worlds apart, and now I feel at peace. Despite Remnant having humans for me to socialize with. I knew it wasn't my world, it wasn't Earth, and although I knew I would come to accept it as my home, I knew that this bunker and this area in which I grew up, even if warped by an apocalypse, was where my roots were. Finally, I was able to sit up on the couch with 9S still holding on to me, but as I heard the distinct sounds of a dozen high-heeled shoes rapidly tapping across the concrete of my bunker, I realized with the strength of my androids they very may break my ribs with the coming hugs as I saw 2B, A2 and the others enter the room. Please check out my new Warhammer 40k/cultivation story.